Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here and this is your first time of coming across my video, please kindly like and subscribe to the channel. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always being here. Thank you for your love and support on all my videos. So today we'll be learning how to draft, pad and sew a princess that bustier with a built-up neckline. So we'll learn how all the process from the drafting to the cutting and the padding and the sewing. So first of all, I'll mark out all my horizontal measurements. So after marking out all my horizontal measurements, I'll be marking my neckline. Now after marking all the horizontal measurements, we'll first of all start with the built-up neckline. So for the neckline, I'm marking 3 inches for the width, and then I'm marking my shoulder line. So I'll just draw the line of my shoulder down to my chest, my armhole line. Now for the part where I mark 3 for the width of my neck, in the part of your ruler where you have this V angle part, there's a V there, but you might not be able to see it clearly because it didn't show. But if you have this type of ruler, you can look at it, you see the V, then just from there you mark to the angle 45. There's an angle pointing outward, so I just marked it outward. Or you can just extend your line slanty by like 2 inches. So I'm using 2 inches. That's so the other part remaining is not going to be useful for me. So after marking the V, the slant outward, I measured 2 inches. Now I'm going to be marking the opening of my neck because I want it to be a V opening. So I opened it up by 1 inch, which is, if I open it after sewing it, it's going to be 2 inch wide. So the depth of your neckline, it depends on what you want. So you'll be coming down by your shoulder slope first of all before reshaping that part. So now I'm just going to be marking my nipple to nipple line all the way from my bust point down to my half length. So on the first part, I'm going in by ½ inch. Then on the other part, I'm coming in by 1.5. It depends on the size of your bust. You can come in by 1.25. You can come in by 1 inch. So now I'm just going to connect. I'll come down by ½ inch, and then I'll connect with my curve ruler. I'll also connect the other side now with my curve ruler. That ½ inch is to prevent any form of pointiness. Then from my shoulder slope, I'm going to divide it into 2. I'll first of all mark out my shoulders, the slant of my shoulder slope. Then I'll make sure that I blend that part of my built-up neckline into the shoulder slope. Then I'll divide my armhole into 2. Now I'll be connecting from this part now to the armhole line to get my princess dart. Now we'll come down by 2 inches for the darts and reconnect it. Now this whole part is going to be cut off. Now to make sure that it's equal by the time you are done sewing, I'm just going to extend it by 2 inches outside, and then I will reconnect it back so that there will be no shortage. Now I'll be taking my measurements now, divide my bust into 4, add my 1 inch for that and my sewing allowance. I will do the same thing for the under bust and the half length. I have a detailed tutorial on how to draft this princess dart bustier. I will be linking it up here as well. I'm just doing this one so the tutorial will be very fast. It doesn't waste time since we are going to be sewing. So after that, now I'm going to measure from the built-up neckline down to my shoulder and check what I have. I have 6.5. So by the time I'm doing it at the back, I'll be able to know how many inches I have there, so it will be equal. Now I'm just going to mark my zipper allowance first of all before drafting my back. So I'll just go straight to my back. I'm just using my chest line and my half length. So I'm marking my neckline and my shoulder as well as we normally do. Then my shoulder slope, I'll connect it back to my neckline. We'll do that the same angle. I'll be placing it there and marking the 45 angle 45 straight upwards. Then I'll be marking the 2 inches that I'll be using from the length of my built-up neckline. If you want yours to be longer, you can do it longer as well. So now I'm just going to extend these lines upward too. So now I'll connect that from that 2 inches. I'll connect it with a straight line, but the back is going to have a little bit of curve. It can't just be straight, so I'll come down by ½ inch from the middle of the back and connect it to make sure that it gets back to that 2 inches that I extended upward. So now the other part is going to be cut off. Now this is my original neckline, so I'll just blend this part in, the built-up neckline. I'll just blend it in like this. So after that, I'll just measure what I have here. What I still have is the same 6.5 that I had at the front. So by the time you are sewing, it's going to be equal. Now I'm going to be dividing my measurements into 4, adding my my allowance. Then for the waist, I'll add the dart allowance after dividing and my normal allowance, because I want it to have a dart, but I want this dart to be like a princess dart. For my chest line, I'm coming down by 1 inch and marking my nipple to nipple measurement and extending it downward for my dart. So I'll be taking ½ inch on both sides for my dart. Now I'm going to come down by half of the armhole measurement as well and connect it back with a slope, with a curve, sorry, but it shouldn't be too curvy, neither should it be too straight. So I'm taking in my darts ½ inch on both sides on the waist. Now for this part, I'm coming out by ½ inch as well, and then I'll just reconnect it back. Then I've still extended it by ½ inch in case there should be no shortage. So by the time I'm done sewing, I will also have to reshape this whole armhole. So now I'm just ruling out my normal measurements that I've already marked. I'll have to reshape this armhole. So by the time I've joined my everything, I'll reshape the armhole. Then I went up by ½ inch to reconnect to the original half length. That is just to remove any zipper bulge. Then I'm also going to remove a zipper bulge as well from the side. I'll come in by ½ inch as well from this side, and I'll just reconnect it upward. So this is just to avoid any zipper bulge, so the back of your zipper will be relaxed. Like I said, I have a detailed tutorial on the drafting of this princess dart bustier. In case this one is too fast, it's because we are going to be doing a sewing tutorial. We don't want it to be too long. So now I'll just cut out everything. Yeah, so after cutting it, I'm going to be transferring it to my fabric. Now on the fabric, the one I'm using for the lining, I marked my paper stay on it, 1 layer of paper stay. Then the one I'll be using for the main fabric is where I'm going to be attaching my airstay. I'm going to be padding this bustier with an airstay. Now this is the one I'm using for the main fabric. I've already put 1 layer of airstay, but I'm just going to mark where my padding is going to start from, which is the chest line to the under bust. I will just mark it. Then for the sides as well, I'm just going to mark it in a C-cut, a circular. I'll just make sure that the bust is curved. I'll be marking the bust curve where I'll be padding. So I'll proceed. I'm using this original thick airstay. This is thicker than the normal regular airstay. It's a cotton airstay. So I'll just be following that shape now to pad my bustier. So I'll make sure that your iron is hot. So you can also do this padding process on your lining as well, but make sure that on the main fabric you pad at least 3 layers, because I'm using up to 8 to 10 layers first of all to make it very thick. If you are using the original airstay, by the time you are done padding, you see that it will be very strong and firm. This pattern just helps everything to be in place. There will be no gaping. But I'm using Mikado fabric, and you know Mikado fabric wrinkles easily. So if you are using a fabric like this that is easy to wrinkle, it's better that will just give all this cloth brain and wrinkles all over. It's better that you just use the lining for the padding. So after padding like that, I'm going to take one part of the airstay and cover the entire part which I've padded. I'm going to repeat the same process for the middle part and the other side part as well. This one that you used to cover the whole part is just going to hold everything in place. It will make everything look very firm and just in place, so it's not going to be having any gaping. So I'm just ironing it from the outside. Everything will look smooth. But like I said, this Mikado fabric is likely to have wrinkles and cloth brain. So I'm just going to do the same process now for the middle. Like that, I'm just going to pad it multiple times the way I did for the sides, and do it for the other side as well. So by the time I'm done with 3, we'll proceed to sewing. So like I said, by the time I've padded it like this up to the amount I need, you can still gauge it. By the time you are padding, you can touch how firm you want it to be. So I will use one whole of the airstay now to cover the entire cloth that I have padded. That's one that you are using to cover the entire cloth that you have padded. It just helps to keep everything in place, and it helps it to remain firm and smooth. There will be no gaping. So make sure that your iron is hot and everything is just going to be in place. Like, this process is not that easy as it looks. It's because it's a video, so it's not as easy as it looks. So I'm done padding. Now I've already went ahead to start sewing, but I'll be showing you how I sewed it. So I just, from the under, you make sure that they are equal from the under, and then you sew with your sewing machine. You repeat the same process for the back. You know, the back, we also cut it as well as princess, but it shouldn't be too curvy. Like I said, it shouldn't be too curvy, neither should it be too sharp as well. Just let it flow. So now this is it, just with the padding. I haven't ironed it yet, and I said, you know, remember I said Mikado has this tendency to always squeeze. So now I'm going to notch the under bust, the middle part as well, and go to the ironing table to iron. Make sure that you have your bust cover, what you use to iron. So I'll first of all open it and iron very well. Make sure that you open it and iron for the both lines of the bust. After ironing it very well, then you trim the excess. You know it's going to be thick, so you are going to trim the excess of the fabric from where you ironed, because now we are going to be ironing a strip of airstay on that part that I've ironed. So iron it from the inside and iron it from the outside as well. So make sure that you iron it very well. So put your bust cup under to make sure that it is pointing upward, pointing out very well. So after ironing and trimming out the excess, we are going to cut a single strip of airstay, about three pieces of the strip, and we are going to iron it on the line that we just ironed. These lines, these are our bust band lines. What that does is that it helps push the padding outside. Like, you will notice that it becomes more firm by the time you are ironing that single piece. You will see what I mean by the time I'm done. So first of all, make sure that you iron thoroughly. It helps. Your ironing determines how well your bustier curve will be, and the method of padding. So this is it. I've ironed it out very well. So now I'm just going to trim out the excess. And now I've gone ahead to cut the strips of the airstay. So like I said, this method of padding is not as easy as it looks, but you will get used to it. If you've done it like 2 to 3 times, you understand how it is. But if this is your first time of trying it, it might not be as easy as you think. So like I said, the strip of the airstay, we are going to iron it on that part of the bust band that we've just ironed and trimmed the excess from. Iron it up to the under bust, then you cut it off. You are going to iron like 3 layers of it. Make sure that it doesn't exceed the under bust. Make sure that it stops at the under bust. It is going to furthermore push this bustier outside. It's going to push it out and give it a very firm look. So I'm using 3 layers for mine. It shouldn't be more than 4 layers. You should at least 3 to 4 layers is what you should use. So now I'm done ironing. I'm just going to be ironing the outer part of my fabric. Like I said, Mikado, you know how it is. It's always wrinkles whenever you are making clothes with it. But if you are using Mikado, it's better you just pad the lining instead of the fabric. But when you are padding the lining, make sure that you also pad the fabric with at least 3 layers. So now this is it. See how beautiful it looks already. So now this is the back. I've joined the back and I'm ironing the back out as well. So you iron the lining and the fabric. Now I've ironed my back and I ironed the zipper allowance inside, so I will see the line. So because I'm going to be joining my zip halfway, because if you notice the video at the beginning of the start, my zip did not start from the up, so I'm going to join half of that part and then I will leave the zipper allowance. This is my lining for, and then I have my main fabric, my main front bodies. Now I'm going to reshape the armhole. Well, first of all, let's join that part I said we're going to join at the back. We're going to join up to like 3 inches first of all before adding before leaving our zipper allowance. You can join it up to 2 inches or 3 inches if that's what you want, or you can as well fix your zip all the way down. This I'm doing this way because this dress has a lower part, a skirt part. It's a gown, so I'm just using this up for the illustration of what I'm doing. So now I'm going to join the back now to the front. You see how we're joining it from that neck part. We're going to be joining it. First of all, I'm trying to reshape the armhole. I'll first of all measure what I have and what is supposed to be there. So now I'm reshaping the armhole. You also reshape it for the lining as well. Because you know I didn't take a shoulder slope when I was cutting this dress originally, and armhole princess that is likely to increase to be tight on the armhole if you don't reshape the shoulder. By the time you are done sewing, you've joined it. So after that, I'm now going to join from the neckline. See that part of the beginning of the neckline is where I'm going to start joining from, down to the shoulder. You know everything is blended together, so there is no part that you stop. You just join all the way from the neckline now to the end. You see that everything is equal, because when we were drafting, we checked the neck to the arm, the shoulder line, and everything was equal. So now this is it. I'm just going to do the same thing for the other part as well. So now by the time I'm done joining it, I'll just take it to the ironing table now to iron that part open. You can notch it and iron it open to just help it lay flat and relax, because now it's from your neck down to your shoulder. Everything is the same, everything is one. So now I'll just be retaking my measurements now to join my front bodice to my back. Just divide my measurement into 2, and I'll just retake from my bust to my under bust to my half length. I'll take all the measurements and join. So you will be repeating the same process of what you did here now for the lining as well. So there will be no need to recording the whole of that one, because it's exactly the same thing that you've done here that you will do for the lining. Then you just iron it open to make sure that everything is laying flat. Now I joined it and my armhole was still too small, so I had to measure it round and reshape my armhole. Now you reshape the armhole for the other side and the lining as well. So now I've gone to my ironing table to iron. I'll open my seam allowances to let everything relax. Please make sure that you iron very well. Ironing helps your clothes to relax and lay flat, and it helps you to look neat as well. So I'm just going to iron the shoulder, or the arm to the armhole, to the from the neckline to the shoulder. Sorry, I'll just iron it open as well to let everything lay flat. I'm ironing both for the lining and the main fabric. So now you see that we've ironed it, and this is the outcome of it. So all you have to do now after ironing for your lining as well is to put your lining over it now to turn the main fabric. So this is it. I've ironed it. Now this is my lining. I've ironed it as well, and then I'll just put it over the main fabric and I will pin it all the way around. I'll just pin it all the way around, all through the neck and everywhere. I decided to start from the back because it's more easier. So now this is it. I'll just pin it round and take it to the sewing machine and sew it all through. So now I'm just going to sew everywhere around. Yeah, so gradually coming to the end of this tutorial. So after sewing, make sure that you notch the seam allowance to make it lay flat. Then you go to the ironing table to iron it out as well. So this is it. You can see how firm this thing looks. It's very firm, and I tell you, even if you've not tried it before, if you give this method a try, you will like it. So like I said, I'm going to be attaching a skirt to mine is a gown, but I'm just using the upper part now for this illustration. So that will be all for this tutorial. Guys, please kindly like the video, share to people that will need it, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for your love and support on all my videos. I really do appreciate. I'll see you on my next one. This is the final outcome of the gown. So bye guys, I'll see you on my next video. Bye bye.